Hello, my dear students. Myself, Kingshuk sir, your KC sir, and I welcome you all to your very beautiful own channel of Magical Physics. Dear students, thank you for all the tremendous response that you students are giving to me. I'm overwhelmed from your supports. Now, dear students, today we are starting with motion in one dimension. Motion in one dimension from JEE and NEET point of view. So make sure that you share and subscribe to this channel and keep on watching the video. Let's get started. When we say motion, it means that the particle is moving. That is, the particle is changing its location. The particle is moving from one point to another point. That is the meaning of motion. So motion means that particle is moving from one point to another point. Now, when particle moves from one point to another point, that is when motion occurs, there are a few terms that we need to know. Let's say that this is initial location of the particle, and this is point A, and the particle goes to point B. When the particle goes from point A to point B, the route, the path that the particle has taken to go from point A to point B is called as path length. Now this path length, students, is also called as distance. Distance or path length is a scalar quantity. It does not have any direction. So distance or path length is a scalar quantity which shows the actual distance, the actual route that the particle has taken to reach from point A to point B. It is a scalar quantity. Now, the shortest distance between points A and B, the shortest distance between the initial and the final point, that shortest distance, students, is called as displacement. That is S. So displacement is a vector quantity. It is always directed from initial to final position. Displacement is the shortest distance between the initial and the final points. Now, when we divide displacement with time, the time taken by the particle to reach the final point from the initial point, that ratio, displacement of time, is called as velocity. So velocity is again a vector quantity, and velocity implies that it is displacement upon time. Dear students, when we divide distance, that is path length, with time, then we get speed. So we'll say that speed is distance divided by time. So speed is distance or path length that the particle takes to go to the final point from initial point. That path length divided by time. That is a speed. Okay. And what is velocity? So velocity is displacement divided by time. Velocity is a vector quantity, path length or speed is a scalar quantity. Right. These are the initial things that we need to know. Now you should understand that when velocity is differentiated, that is, rate of change of velocity occurs, now students, what we can do is we can understand the graphs which are there in motion in one dimension. We are talking about the graphs. So in graphs, we'll say that we have y-axis and we have x-axis. So y-axis, maybe it implies displacement, and x-axis implies time. Then the graph that we get is called as a xt graph, where the y-axis is displacement and the x-axis is time. This is a xt graph. Xt graph. Dear students, remember that in this xt graph, whatever slope you will get, slope of the graph, which graph? Xt graph. Whatever slope you will get for an xt graph, that slope, students, indicates the velocity of the particle. Slope of xt graph indicates velocity. Okay, one more thing. If an expression for displacement is given to you. X means displacement. So if expression for displacement is given to you and you find differentiation, that is derivative of this displacement, then derivative of displacement gives us instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous means moment velocity, the velocity at one particular point, at one particular moment. If we differentiate displacement with respect to time, then we get instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity, velocity of one particular instant, that is called as instantaneous velocity. Okay, so this was the first graph, xt graph. Xt graph, that is displacement against a time graph. Slope of the graph gives velocity, and xt graph, if it has an equation, we have an equation for displacement, then the derivative of displacement gives instantaneous velocity. Right? If we are supposed to find average velocity, total average velocity, then average velocity, dear students, is total distance, or rather right now it is total displacement, because we're talking about velocity. So it is total displacement upon total time. Total displacement upon total time. This ratio is called as average velocity. Total displacement by total time. This ratio is average velocity. Right? Okay, let's move on to the next graph. The next graph, students, that we have is a VT graph, that is velocity against a time graph. So let's say that this is velocity and let's say that this is time. So VT graph, that is velocity time graph, VT. So we can say that in a VT graph, that is velocity time graph, the slope of this graph, slope of the VT graph, it gives acceleration. We need to remember this. If we have a VT graph, velocity against a time graph, then slope of VT graph gives acceleration. Slope of VT graph gives acceleration. Okay. If you differentiate velocity with respect to time, to differentiate velocity with respect to time, then derivative of velocity with respect to time gives us acceleration. Derivative of velocity with respect to time gives us acceleration. Cool. Very good. Now, students, if we find area under this curve, area under the curve of VT graph, if we find area under the curve, then area under the curve gives us distance or displacement. It gives us distance or displacement. If we consider positive as well as negative directions, then we get a displacement. If we don't consider the positive or negative directions, then we get distance. So we'll be doing numericals based on this, so things will become more clear. So area of velocity time graph gives us displacement or distance, and slope of the velocity time graph gives us acceleration, right? Okay. So with this, we can start with the numericals. Let's get started. So starting with the first question. In the question, they are telling us that if a man goes 10 meters towards north and the man goes 20 meters towards east, then what will be his final displacement? Man goes 10 meters towards north and 20 meters towards east, then what is his displacement? So let's consider that this is 10 meters to the north, this one, and maybe this is 20 meters to the east. Then what will be the displacement? So if a person is going 10 meters to the north and 20 meters to the east, then this becomes the initial position of the person and this becomes the final position of the person. So shortest distance between the initial and the final position gives us displacement, and that's what they are asking us. So we'll say that displacement is this thing. This is displacement. So displacement, dear students, that is S, will become equal to, how to find it? So this is hypotenuse of the triangle. So hypotenuse is equals to under root of one side square plus other side square. So that is under root of 10 square plus 20 square. So this will be equal to under root of 10 square means 100, 20 square means 400. So 100 plus 400, that gives you 500. Root of 500 is 22.5. Root of 500, that is approximately 22.5. See, 25 square is 625. This is greater than 625. This is 900. So root of 500 is definitely 22.5. Right? So it is option A. Let's move on to the next question. A drunkard is walking on a straight road. He takes 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward. Means he will move forward 5 steps and then he will come back 3 steps, and so on. Every time he will move 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward. For taking each step, for taking one step, he takes 1 second, and the length of every step size, is 1 meter. Right. Now there is a pit. There is a hole on the road 11 meter away from the starting point of the drunkard. So the question asks that the drunkard will fall into the pit after how much time? Try to understand. We can say that this is the drunkard. Okay. This is the drunkard. And from the drunkard, there is a hole, there is a pit, which is at a distance of 11 meter away from him. So this is the hole. This is the pit. Okay. So the question asks us, after how much time the drunkard will fall in this pit? So the drunkard moves 5 steps forward like this, and then the drunkard moves 3 steps backward. So he comes 5 steps forward and he goes back 1, 2, 3 steps. So he comes 5 steps forward and goes back 3 steps. Means actually the net displacement of this drunkard is 2 meter. Understood? Because every step size is of 1 meter. So for 5 steps, the drunkard is traveling 5 meter forward and then 3 meter backwards. So the displacement of this drunkard is actually 2 meter when he takes 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward. For every step, 1 second is needed. And for every step, if 1 second is needed, then for 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward, total time taken will be 8 seconds. Now that means that students ki har 8 second mein 2 meter displacement the drunkard will make. So the drunkard will again go forward by 2 meter in another 8 second. So plus 8 second. Cool. He will go 5 steps forward, 3 steps backward. So net displacement is another 2 meter ka. And for doing that another 2 meter ka displacement, the drunkard takes another 8 seconds. Again, he will make a displacement of 2 meter. Will make a displacement of 2 meter. But for doing the 2 meter displacement, drunkard ko wapas 8 second lagega. Agreed? So the drunkard requires 8 seconds to make the first 2 meter displacement. Then again he requires 8 seconds to make the next 2 meter displacement. Again he needs 8 seconds to make the next 2 meter displacement. Now the drunkard is here. So how much distance the drunkard has actually traveled? So if you calculate it, it becomes 2 plus 2 plus 2, which means that the drunkard has actually covered 6 meter distance. Drunkard has covered 6 meter. Where is the pit? The pit is at a distance of 11 meter away from the drunkard. The pit is at a distance of 11 meter away from the drunkard. So from 6, if I want to go to 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It means that from this distance, when the drunkard takes 5 steps, 3, 4, and 5, the drunkard falls in the pit. So from 6 meter distance, when the drunkard takes 5 steps forward, he travels 5 meter and he falls on the pit. So in order to fall on the pit, after the 6 meter distance, the drunkard had to travel 5 steps forward, and every step size takes 1 second. So as he takes 5 steps forward, he requires another 5 seconds. So overall, dear students, if we add all these times, then it is 8 plus 8 plus 8, that is 24, plus 5, that is 29 seconds. So we'll say that the drunkard will fall on the pit after 29 seconds. Simple. So this was a very unique question in which they told that the drunkard is taking 5 steps forward and 3 steps backward. So the net displacement that the drunkard makes for every 8 steps, in which 5 is forward and 3 is backward, the net displacement is of 2 meters. So ऐसा कर करके after 6 meter का distance, when the drunkard further makes 5 steps forward, he falls in the pit. So the total time taken by the drunkard is 29 seconds. Right. Let's move on to the next question. The question asks the students, 3 initial and final positions are given to us. Which pair gives us negative displacement? So displacement is nothing but final location minus initial location. Displacement S is final location minus initial location. Final minus initial. That is displacement. So if you look properly, final is 7 in the first option and initial is minus 3. So displacement becomes 7 minus of minus 3. So that is plus 3. So displacement is 10 meters. If you look at the second option, it is final, which is minus 3, minus initial, that is 7. So minus 3 minus 7 is minus 10. So this displacement is negative. And if you look at the third option, it is final minus initial. So 3 minus of minus 7, that is plus 7. That is again plus 10. So the displacement is negative for the second pair, which means that the correct answer is option B. Let's move on to the next question. So in the question, students, they're telling that area under velocity time graph for a particle will give you velocity time graph. Area will give you displacement. The area under velocity time graph. So velocity time graph, I'm underlining area. So area under velocity time graph will give you displacement. And if you find the slope of velocity time graph, then the slope will give you acceleration. Right? Very good. So the question tells that a cyclist is moving on a circular track and the radius of this circular track is 40 meters. The cyclist completes half revolution and he does that in 40 seconds. So what is the average velocity of the cyclist? Average velocity of the cyclist. So we can consider that, let's say that this is the circular track. Now in this circular track, the cyclist covers only half the distance. He covers half the distance. So this half the distance is covered by the cyclist. So let's clear this portion because the cyclist is not going through that portion. So in the question, they have told that cyclist moves on a circular track of radius 40 meters. So the radius of the circular track R is 40 meters. Okay. And the cyclist covers this semicircular track, half the revolution, in 40 seconds. So time is given to, that is 40 seconds. What is the average velocity? Now velocity, dear students, is nothing but displacement upon time. Velocity. So velocity is displacement upon time. So what is the displacement that the cyclist has made? So the cyclist is going from point A to point B. So as the cyclist is going from point A to point B, we will say that the displacement of the cyclist will be the diameter of the semicircular path. So diameter means it is R plus R. So R plus R, that means the diameter is 2 times R. So the displacement of the cyclist is 2 times R divided by time T. And what is T? T is 40 seconds. So it is 2 into R, which is 40, divided by time, which is 40. 40 gets cancelled out. So the correct answer is 2 meters per second. Option C. Right. So let's look at the question. The question tells that position of an object is given as x is equals to a plus bt square. Here the value of a is 8.5 and the value of b is 2.5. So a plus bt square. What is the average velocity? Not the instantaneous velocity. What is the average velocity between 2 second and 4 second? So as they have told average velocity, it becomes total displacement upon total time. And instantaneous velocity agar pucha rehta, then would have simply differentiated that equation. Derivative of displacement gives us instantaneous velocity. Lekin ab humse pucha hai average velocity. So you can say that the value of average velocity will be equal to displacement जो final होगा, so final displacement will be at 4 second, so x of 4 minus displacement जो 2 second पे होगा, so that is x of 2, and the entire part is divided by time interval delta t. So we can say that x of 4, that is the displacement of the particle at 4 second. So let's put instead of t 4. So x of 4 is a plus b into 4 square. So b into 4 square means that is 16. 4 square is 16. So that is a plus 16b minus x of 2. So let's put instead of t, the value of t is 2. So it is minus of a plus bt square. So that is a plus b into 2 square. So 2 square means 4. So that is a plus 4 times b. And that is divided by delta t. Delta t means the final time, which is 4, minus the initial time, which is 2. So that is 4 minus 2. So this becomes equal to a minus a. So a and a gets cancelled out like this. And we have 16b minus 4b. So that is 12b. So we have 12b divided by 4 minus 2, that is 2. So 12b minus 12b upon 2, that is 6b. And what was the value of b? B was 2.5. So we have 6 times 2.5. 6 times 2.5. So 2.5 into 6. So 6 5s are 30. 3 carry. 6 2s are 12. Plus 3, 15. So 15.0. So 15. The average velocity is 15 meter per second. Option C. Kindly look at the question. Position of an object along the x-axis is given as x is equals to a plus bt square. The value of a and b are given to you. Now in the question they are telling find the instantaneous velocity at t equal to 2 seconds. Find instantaneous velocity, not the average one. Instantaneous velocity. So if they are asking you to find the value for instantaneous velocity, then we will find the derivative of displacement. Average velocity होता है total displacement upon total time, जैसा हम लोगों ने पिछली बार किया था. लेकिन if they are asking you to find the value for instantaneous velocity, then instantaneous velocity हो जाएगा derivative of the equation of displacement. So we can say that instantaneous velocity and a v will be equals to dx by dt. So a is a constant. So derivative of a with respect to t will be 0. So 0 plus bt square derivative with respect to t is 2 times bt. 2 times bt. So that will be equals to 2 times the value of b is 2.5 into t. So the value of time t is again 2 seconds. So we can say that it is 2 2s are 4. 4 into 2.5 is 10. So the instantaneous velocity that the particle has at 2 seconds is 10 meter per second. Cool. Let's move on to the next question. So kindly look at the question. Question में हमको बोल रहे कि x is equals to at plus bt square. This is the equation of a particle which is moving. Now here the value of a is 15 centimeter per second and the value of b is 3 centimeter per second square. So we are supposed to find a value for instantaneous velocity at t equal to 3 seconds. Instantaneous velocity हमको निकालना है. So instantaneous velocity means derivative of displacement with respect to time. Derivative of displacement with respect to time gives us instantaneous velocity. Average velocity बोलता है तो total displacement upon total time. Instantaneous तो derivative. So instantaneous velocity v will be equal to dx by dt. Instantaneous velocity v will be dx by dt. So we will say x is at plus bt square. So if it is AT plus BT square, so derivative of this thing will give us A into derivative of T, that is 1, plus BT square. So derivative of T square is 2T. So that is 2 into B into T. That is the velocity equation. Derivative of T is 1 and derivative of T square is 2T. So we should get that is equals to, what is the value of A? A is 15 plus the value of B is 3. So it is 2 into 3 into time, that is also 3. So we can understand that it is 2 3s are 6, 6 3s are 18. So it is 15 plus 18. So 15 plus 18 is 33. 15 plus 18. The correct answer is 33 centimeter per second. Option E. Option E. Kindly look at the next question. So in the question they are telling that this is the velocity of a particle. A particle का velocity है. At what time the velocity becomes maximum? At what time the velocity becomes maximum? तो ये derivative के application है. You should remember that if a quantity becomes maximum or that quantity becomes minimum, then derivative of that quantity should be equal to 0. अब यहाँ पे मेरे को बोला गया कि velocity को maximum होना है. So for velocity to become maximum, we will say that let's find derivative of velocity with respect to t and equate it to 0. So we will say that according to condition for maxima, dv by dt, derivative of velocity with respect to time t will be equal to 0. If you equate the derivative of a quantity with respect to time t as 0, then you say that that quantity will either attain maxima or minima. So we can say that let's take this 2t inside. So it is d by dt of, instead of v it is 2 3s are 6. So that is 6t minus of t square into 2, matlab 2t square. 6t minus 2t square. So according to condition for derivative, this derivative should be equal to 0. The derivative of 6t is 6 into derivative of t is 1 minus of derivative of 2t square is 40, and that is equals to 0. That is equals to 0. So minus 40 goes to the right, becomes positive 40. So we'll get 4t is equals to 6. 4t is equals to 6. So if we divide both sides by 2, so we'll get 3 by 2 is equals to t. 3 by 2 is equals to t. So 3 by 2 means 1.5. Or here option is 3 by 2 only. So it is option D. So this is the time when the velocity becomes maximum. Remember this condition that for velocity to become maximum, the derivative of that quantity should be equal to 0. That is the condition for maximum. Let's move on to the next question. Kindly pay attention. Position of a particle is given as x is equals to 9t square minus t cube. So what will be the position of this particle when it achieves maximum speed? The particle achieves maximum speed. So maximum speed is told to us. Let's first find speed. In order to find speed, we'll say that v, that is speed, is equals to dx by dt. So derivative of x with respect to time t gives us speed. So velocity v is dx by dt. So dx by dt gives us 9t square. Derivative of that is 2t. 2t into 9, 18t. हमको मिलेगा 18t minus of t cube का derivative. So derivative of t cube is 3t square. So this becomes velocity. हमको बोल रहा है ये velocity को करना है maximum. इस velocity को करना है maximum. तो अगर हमको स्टूडेंट्स इस velocity को maximum करना है, तो जिसको maximum करना होता है उसको differentiate करो with respect to time and equate it to 0. Equate it to 0. So we can say that by condition for maxima, we will say that differentiating v with respect to time t. So dv by dt, and this derivative should be equated to 0. So dv by dt, and we equate that thing to 0. So now students, we have to differentiate velocity with respect to time t, because they have told that it is dv by dt is equals to 0. So ये velocity है, इसको differentiate करते हैं with respect to time t. So derivative of 18t is 18 into derivative of t is 1 minus of derivative of 3t square. So it is 3 into derivative of t square, that is 2t. So it is 3 into 2t. So that is 60. So that is 18 minus 60, and that we will equate it to 0. Condition for maxima. जिसको maximum सोचना है उसका derivative should be equal to 0. So we'll get 18 is equals to 60. So 6 divide 18 by 6, that becomes 3. So we'll get t is equals to 3 seconds. T is equals to 3 seconds. So this is the time interval when velocity becomes maximum. So ये t को हम लोग substitute करेंगे x पे, because in the question they are telling what will be the position, what will be the position of the particle. So in order to find the position, we'll say that x is equals to 9 into t square. So t is 3. So it is 9 into 3 square minus 3 cube. So let's take 3 square common. So if I take 3 square out, then within bracket I should get 9 minus 3. 9 minus 3. Now 3 square is 9. So it is 9 into 9 minus 3 is 6. And 9 into 6 is 54. So option is A. Correct answer is option A. Easy. Let's move on to the next question. So the question tells that figure shows displacement x and time t graph. So displacement against time graph is given to us. तो कौन सा ऑप्शन राइट है? अगर आप ध्यान से देखो तो पार्टिकल इनिशियली फ्रॉम टाइम 0 टू टाइम t नॉट मूव कर रहा था, जिसके वजह से पार्टिकल का डिस्प्लेसमेंट स्ट्रेट लाइन से बढ़ रहा था. लेकिन आफ्टर t नॉट पार्टिकल का लोकेशन, पार्टिकल का डिस्प्लेसमेंट इज कांस्टेंट, and you see the displacement is not changing after time t naught. So it means that the particle is moving. It means that the particle is moving with a constant velocity. हमारा particle constant velocity से move कर रहा है up to time t naught. Up to time t naught हमारा particle constant velocity से move कर रहा है. उसके बाद students the particle is stopping. उसके बाद the particle is stopping. So you can see that the displacement is not changing. The correct answer is option D. Particle initially constant velocity से move कर रहा है, so the displacement is a straight line passing through origin, and after time t naught particle is stopping there, so the displacement is not changing. Right. Let's move on to the next question. Dear students, if you are benefited from this lecture, make sure that you share this channel with your friends so that everyone will be informed that we had started a free live online sessions from NEET and JEE point of view. And this is a crash course, so I'll try to wrap up the entire syllabus of 11th standard really fast. Dear students, kindly support me by sharing this channel as much as you can. It gives me immense motivation to work hard for you. Let's see this question. In the question, students, they are telling that the position time graph of two children A and B are given in this figure. So choose the incorrect statement. Incorrect statement. जो गलत है वो choose करना है. So students, you can see that A starts first. A ने अपना जर्नी पहले चालू किया. A का डिस्प्लेसमेंट पहले होने लगा. And B starts after some time. थोड़ी देर के बाद B ने अपना जर्नी चालू किया. A stays closer to school, क्योंकि देखो A का जो डिस्प्लेसमेंट है from observer school है, that is less, and B stays away from the school. B stays away. Slope of B is more. B का slope ज्यादा है, inclination ज्यादा है, तो xt graph का slope gives you velocity. xt graph का slope gives you velocity. So A का slope is less, so A is walking slowly. So let's see. First option tells that A lives closer to the school. So yes, that is correct. A lives closer to the school. So that is correct. We have to select the incorrect one. A starts to walk earlier. Yes. B starts later on. B after some time starts to walk. Even that is right. A walks faster than B? No, that is wrong. B walks faster because slope of B is more. Slope of B is more. So as slope of B is more, it means that B is walking faster. So C is wrong. A and B reach the home at the same time? Yes. You can see that on the timeline, on this timeline, both A and B reach at the same time. So here, the incorrect one they had asked us to select. So the incorrect option hai, that is option C, right? Sure. Next question. So in the question, students, they're telling that the displacement time graph of a particle is given to us in the figure. Displacement time graph. So this is the displacement time graph. हमसे पूछ रहे हैं कि instantaneous velocity negative कब होगा? Instantaneous velocity negative कब होगा? So instantaneous velocity is tangent drawn to the displacement time graph. Displacement time graph पे अगर आपने tangent draw किया, then the tangent that is drawn to the displacement time graph gives us instantaneous velocity. So for point C, we'll say that the tangent drawn is like this. So it is positive. For point D, the tangent is horizontal. So that is 0. For point E, the tangent is coming down, means negative slope. So the slope of this line is negative, which means that instantaneous velocity is negative for point E. And even for point F, the tangent is going up. So it is positive. So the correct option here is option C. Velocity, instantaneous velocity will be negative for E, because for E, the tangent drawn is coming down, right? Let's move on to the next question. Let's see the question. In the question, they're telling us that in this VT graph, what will be the distance traveled by the particle in 5 seconds? Distance बोला students, displacement नहीं. Displacement बोला होता तो ये जो negative side पे area है, इसको हम positive side के area के साथ minus करते. If they would have told that it is displacement, then the negative area would have been subtracted from the positive one. So right now they are telling us to find the distance. So everything will be added. So this is the first shape, triangle. This is the second shape, rectangle. This is the third shape, rectangle. This is the fourth shape, that is triangle. This is the fifth shape, which is triangle. The area of all these shapes will give us the final distance. The final distance D will be equal to area of the triangle 1. So what is triangle? Half into base into height. So that is half into base is from 0 to 2. So that is half into 2 into height. Height is 40 minus 20. Yeah, height है triangle का. So 40 minus 20 will be 20. So this is area of the first shape. Area of the first shape. Moving on to area of the second shape. That is length into breadth. So that is 2 into 20. 2 into 20. So area of the second shape. Let's move on to the third shape. So area of the third shape will be length into breadth. So 3 minus 2 is 1 into breadth. So that is 20. So 1 into 20. That is area of the third shape. Moving on to the fourth shape. That is triangle. Half into base into height. So half into base is 1. Because 4 minus 3, that is 1. Into height is 20. Height is 20. So that is the fourth shape. Moving on to the next shape. That is the fifth shape. We'll say that it is plus. Half into base into height. So it is half into base, which is again 1, into height. That is, we will not take minus 20, it will take only 20 because it is distance. And distance is scalar. So it becomes like this. अब इसको add करते. So 2 gets cancelled out. So it is only 20 plus 20 into 2, that is 40, plus 20 plus 10. 20 divided by 2 is 10 plus 10. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So let's add it. 40 plus 20, 60. 60 plus 20, 80, 90, 100. So the correct answer is 100. Option A. Let's move on to the next question. So this is the last question of the chapter of motion in one dimension. So in this question, they have given a velocity time graph VT graph. And in the question, they are asking us to find the distance traveled by the particle in 10 seconds. How much distance the particle will travel in 10 seconds. So in order to find the distance traveled by a particle in 10 seconds, we will find area under the curve. Area under VT graph gives us the distance, right? So we can say that area under this curve will give us the distance that the particle has traveled. So area is half into base into height. Half into base into height. So what is base? Base is 10. And what is height? Height is 12. So it is half into 10 into 12. So let's divide this 12 and 2. So that is 6. 6 into 10, 60. So we can say that the distance traveled by the particle is 60 meters. So correct answer is option C, right? With this, dear students, we can end today's session. So as I am telling you, I am a new YouTuber. I'm new in this channel, and it takes a lot of time for me to edit everything and put the content for you. So it will be great helpful for me if you share this channel as much as you can. As Guru Dakshina, dear students, make sure that you hit the like button and you also share and subscribe the channel. It will give me the immense motivation to work hard for you. And seriously speaking, thank you very much for all the support that you all are giving me. I am truly obliged for that. With this, dear students, we can stop today's session. Thank you very much. Take care, stay safe, and keep on smiling forever.